Hello and welcome to TPK Wednesday. My name is Lee, the DM of the new D&D podcast show Behold This Crit, and general overall nerdy guy, and today we're going to teach you how to challenge your party. Before we get into it, I do just have a quick disclaimer like I do in every video, even though this is the second episode of this, but anyways, that you should never try to TPK your players. You should never plan a TPK. This series is about challenging your players. So with that in mind, remember we're not here to kill our players, we're here to challenge them. Anyways, this series is about fun and unique encounters to challenge your players, and with that in mind, an encounter isn't necessarily combat, it can be skill challenges, a timed event, combat, or anything else like that. But today I wanted to go over one of my favorite little nuisances, the Gazer. So let's plan our encounter. If you have ever watched a video about favorite enemies, if you own or have ever seen a 5th edition Monster Manual book, you have no doubt heard of or at least seen a picture of the Beholder. Now, take that Beholder, shrink it down to about the size of your shoe, and make it more annoying than that kid on Xbox Live talking about your mom, and you've pretty much got a Gazer. According to D&D Beyond, these little buggers are manifestations of Beholder's dreams. They essentially follow their creators around like devoted and aggressive little puppies, patrolling their lair in search of vermin or creatures to harass. The reason these guys remind me of a public Call of Duty lobby is because they can't necessarily speak, but instead mimic words and sentences in a high-pitched, mocking manner. D&D Beyond literally says wild gazers might follow humanoids around in its territory, noisily mimicking their speech and being an overall nuisance. So I guess it's not so much Call of Duty lobby, but more akin to an annoying little brother that mimics you because he thinks you're cool, only the gazers are doing it with the specific purpose of being an annoying little shit. Just imagine the fun you could have with these guys. Have a wild pack of them running around in the forest with your party camped in and having them laugh at your party from behind the trees. Not to mention the fact that gazers can fly, meaning that they can mock and laugh the party, hovering literally just out of reach of those unfortunate melee members. But anyways, let's talk about these guys' stats. Coming in at a whopping 1/2 CR and an absolutely devastating +5 to hit with their bite attack, doing an immense single point of damage. In case you struggle differentiating sarcasm, that was it. Honestly, on paper at first glance, these guys seem pretty weak. The reason they're on TPK Wednesday is twofold. First, they are CR 1/2, which according to the challenge rating system means that 2 gazers would be an appropriate challenge for a level 1 party of 4 members. And 2, they have 4 eye rays similar to Beholder, in which they have Dazing Ray, Fear Ray, Frost Ray, and Telekinetic Ray. Each of these rays does something different and has a different effect requiring either a DC 12 Strength, Dexterity, or Wisdom saving throw. Going over each of these rays quickly, the Dazing Ray is a DC 12 Wisdom save or be charmed. The Fear Ray is a DC 12 Wisdom save or be feared. Frost Ray is a DC 12 Dexterity save or take 3d6 cold damage. And then a Telekinetic Ray is a DC 12 Strength save or be moved 30 feet away. Now, at first glance, none of these seem too crazy, seeming that their only real damage is a Frost Ray that has a 25% chance to be used, and honestly, that seems kind of pitiful. But don't discredit the other rays yet, because while being pushed back 30 feet is a minor inconvenience, being charmed and feared sucks. Charmed essentially means that the target cannot attack the charmer, their speed is halved, and they have disadvantage on attack rolls. Being feared just straight up gives them disadvantage on all attack rolls, and they can't move closer to the gazer that feared them, and 3d6 damage is, well, 3d6 damage. And realistically, yes, you definitely could get a ray that doesn't do much, Telekinetic Ray, but you use 2 of these rays each turn, which increases the odds of getting the ones you want. Aside from their abilities, however, when you start to see the environment and use that in your combat situations, you can see how really dangerous these guys are. For one, wild gazers can be found roaming the forest, and it's not entirely out of the ordinary to have hills or cliffs in forests. So maybe there just happens to be a 50-foot cliff right where the party encounters the gazers, and that they can get pushed off with Telekinetic Ray. I don't know what happens. But fine, I get it. That might be a little too metagamey, I get it. Realistically, a pack of gazers are kept around as little pets for beholders, and that's where the danger really ramps up. If you're hunting a beholder and you come across a roaming group of 5 of these little bastards in their lair, they might not pose a terrible threat alone. However, having them alert the beholder with their high-pitched noises, squeaks, whatever sound they want to make, or even worse, the potential for them to fight alongside the beholders is absolutely terrifying. Even having a single one of these guys be around during a beholder fight to be a nuisance can set up for a TPK. But this isn't necessarily about beholders, it's about gazers. Which leads me back to the original point, which I don't think I've actually mentioned before, but gazers can fly. Each I-beam actually has a range of 60 feet. I think you understand where I'm going with this one, but while gazers aren't exactly smart, they are literally compared to dogs in their description. Now, I don't know where you fall on the dog versus cat debate, but I for one think dogs are pretty damn smart. Regardless of where you fall on the debate, however, think about it in terms of a small dog barking at a thing that it perceives to be a threat. That dog is smart enough to know that that threat is dangerous, but it's smart enough to be keeping that distance as well. Yet the dog will still bark at it almost to say, hey, keep back. If the threat gets too close, the dog will likely retreat back to an area where it feels more safe. Well, in terms of the gazer will bark at the party while maintaining a safe distance away. Only the barking is blasting the party with eye rays at a distance of at least 30 feet in the air. And in case that amazing analogy isn't enough convincing, let's get back to our favorite broken system, the challenge rating. As I mentioned earlier, the gazer are a 1/2 CR creature, which means that they are an appropriate challenge for a group of 4 level 1 characters. Assuming that your party is balanced, your melee characters will have a hell of a time trying to hit these guys, essentially lowering your effective party number to 2. Now, the average level 1 character has roughly 9 hit points. The average damage of Frost Ray is 9 damage. Numbers don't add up, people. Not to mention the potential disadvantage imposed by the other eye rays with the level 1 character's already lackluster to hit bonus, and you have yourself a very, very hard to hit annoying little Call of Duty player on your hands. And realistically, the gazers are likely to ignore the melee characters because they don't pose a threat. They're gonna keep barking at the characters that are shooting and slinging spells back at them. And guess which classes have historically lower health? Nearly every class that could actually hit these bastards. But anyways, that's gazers. Now, I'm not going to show you how to homebrew these guys around like I did in the last video, because honestly, I think gazers are well written, and if you really wanted to add some stuff to them, I think it'd be difficult to do without really increasing their CR. If you wanted to be really sneaky, maybe throw on some different eye rays there. Maybe each gazer has different eye rays and so much. Or maybe their flight speed's different or anything like that. I mean, you can come up with anything that you want to add to your creatures like I like to do, because if you're a DM that likes to mess with your players, homebrewing creatures is the best thing you could possibly do. But anyways, you can do that on your own time. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope I was able to show you something cool and give you a really unique enemy for one of your low-level parties. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to ask that you would subscribe and join our growing community here on YouTube. And if you really want to get involved, you can feel free to check out our live game here on YouTube within the World of Asura every 7 p.m. or every Friday at 7 p.m. EST. You can also check us out at twitch.tv/beholdthiscrit. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you next time.